We don't talk about grief enough. And it is the saddest and loneliest journey that you will take. There is no right or wrong way to do it. It's simply the tax we pay on love. The only way around it is through it. And it gets really messy. Because what they don't tell you about grief is that it never ends. But the sympathies and condolences, they will. People will be afraid to say their name around you in fear that they are going to remind you that this person has died, as if somehow you had forgotten. You will feel like you lost the privilege to say their name in everyday conversation because it's sad or depressing. They don't tell you that you're going to hold on to the pain and the grief because it's the only thing that makes you feel connected.
What up, world? Live on that with Mr. Be Great today, Lamar King Sr. Glad y'all tapped in with me. It's another all positive podcast. And Mr. Be Great today has some words of encouragement. And y'all already know. I'm just going to jump right on in. Now, today's show is a special show dedicated to a great kid that I watched grow into a young, prosperous young man, Michael Parker of Stockbridge, Georgia, who unfortunately drowned in a lake in Kentucky. You are truly missed, Mike, and I wanted to dedicate this show to you. I've seen you from a little kid grow into a young man, and it's a sad day. My prayers and my condolences goes out to your mother, your grandmother, your brother, your sisters, your father, and everyone you touched, all the lives you touched, because you truly was a unique spirit, a very outgoing young man, and the world truly lost a hero late last month. And just give you a little backstory. I met Mike, it had to be the mid-2000s. I had just moved from my hometown to Stockbridge, Georgia, and my oldest son and Mike became close friends. And Mike was always a very manageable young man. He was always, yes sir, yes ma'am, thank you, just so super courteous. And he was a very short kid. Mike was short in stature. And I remember I was introducing my sons to wrestling. And Mike, I wouldn't say I introduced Mike to wrestling, but somehow Mike became a wrestler as well. And him and my son wrestled together from 6th, 7th grade all the way up to their senior year in high school. And Mike was a phenomenal wrestler. I'm talking about high energy. I'm talking about well-disciplined. This kid was amazing on that wrestling mat. And I just remember some times at different matches, you could hear his mom, Miss Candy, she's yelling, get him, Mike, get him, Mike. And it was just, she was so passionate about Mike's capabilities on that mat, in the classroom and in life in general. And I just, I just truly I was hurt when I heard the news. Him and my son were very close. They went through high school together as, student athletes, and they were friends outside of the classroom, outside of the wrestling room. And, it was many nights he spent the night with my son and sleepovers. We would, just talk, laugh. He was a silly kid. Mike was just a trip, man. He was very an admirable kid that, everybody got along with. I just hate that, he had a untimely death. And again, my prayers goes out to his family, because he was something special. And believe it or not, we were trying to work on our timeline to get Mike on the show. We were corresponding back and forth on IG, because he's released a couple of projects, just a recent one here this spring. And I just, our schedules was never lined up, and then I got banned from IG for some reason. I don't know. So that Great Today INC on IG is no longer, my appeal has been denied and all that stuff. But we never could get our schedules to align and get him on the show. And again, I just really, my condolences goes out to Michael Parker's family, especially his mother, his grandmother, who was very influential in his life. And things like this we never are prepared for. Death is one of those things that we never can see coming. But in essence, we all know one day we're going to have to check out. And Michael was only 23 years old, a young man with so much ahead of him. And I just truly know he is missed more and more each and every day. And again, my prayers goes out to the family of Michael Parker. And the topic today of the show is when the wreath is gone off the door. And see, we all have dealt with death. We've all dealt with losing loved ones, losing family members, friends, colleagues, mother, father, children, uncles, aunts, cousins. We've all had to endure that thing that we all have to face, which is death. And most times when death hits our doorstep, it's unexpected. Something that's not planned, something that we didn't foresee. And it's a hard pill to swallow. It's something that takes us by storm, and we begin to question things and question God and question what we could have done different, and replaying scenarios and memories in our minds of the people we've lost. And it can bring on so many different emotions and depression and stress and anxiety, because we know that the last conversation that we had with that person is the last one we will ever have with them. The memories, the good times, the laughters, the bad times, the ups, the downs, the things of life we endured with each other are now just a memory. And I wanted to talk about this because when death hits our front doorstep, we all have the same rituals that goes on when we lose loved ones. The funeral home comes, it sets up chairs, they put a wreath on their door, people bring food, we fellowship, we reminisce on the good times that we had with our lost loved ones as we prepare to go to the wake, usually the day before the ceremony or the funeral arrangements. And we'll generally have the ceremony, and people are devastated, as they should be, because death is, again, one of those things that we never can get used to. It's one of those things that we never can quite wrap our mind around. And as we're going through the ceremony, we're going through all these different emotions and things like that. And we get ready to go to the ceremony at the grave site. We have the repast, we go back, eat food, and later on that day, the funeral home comes back, retrieves their chairs, and removes that wreath off the door. And that's when it really gets real for a lot of people. That's when it really gets real for the ones that are closest to that person that just left this planet. When that wreath is gone and the people are no longer showing up to kind of combat some of those bad feelings you're having about the loss of that person that you cared so dearly about. When that wreath leaves that door, that's when it gets real. And this is my message to my listeners today. I know we want to show up and show support when that untimely death hit someone we care about, or hit a family member, hit a colleague. We want to show up and show support and be there during the funeral and doing the repast and things like that. But when that wreath leaves that door and everyone's gone, and they've covered the grave site of our loved ones, and they've already, by the time they get the headstone on it, that wreath has been gone for months and weeks and months at it sometimes. But that's the time that those family members and those loved ones need you the most. That's the time when you really have to show up for support, because now they don't have that interference, should I say, or they don't have something to keep their mind occupied with people coming over, showing their gratitude, showing their condolences, showing their compassion for the things that you're dealing with. It's those many weeks after that funeral. It's many weeks after that ceremony, or that we need to show up for the people that's lost loved ones. Because again, death is something that we can never ever get used to. Death is something that we will continue just to have to deal with for the rest of our lives. But even though we know it's coming, when it does reach our home, when it does hit our front doorstep, we are never prepared for it. We are never ready for it. And I challenge my listeners, if you know someone that has lost a loved one, that's had and you know that they were close, and you know that they are going through some emotional pains and strains at the death of their person that they love so much, I challenge you to pick up that phone on a weekly basis and check in on them. I challenge you to pull up on them, stop by, see how they're doing. Because when that wreath comes off that door and no one is pulling up, no one is there to commemorate the life of the person that we lost, that's the time when those people need you the most. That's the time when that mother, like Miss Candace, when she's had to bury her son, something I had to watch my mother go through. When that wreath comes off the door, she needs you more so than she needed you the week prior to Mike's funeral. This is the time when you need to show up for these people in support, because they're going through so many emotions, and more times than not, they're alone. More times than not, they don't have the people coming around to kind of suppress some of the emotions that they're dealing with. And it's hard to be so strong, and it's hard to dismiss your vulnerabilities when you're alone and there's no one around to kind of help you deal with the situation. So I challenge my listeners, when that wreath goes off a person's door, I need you to continuously to show support for the bereaved family. I need you to continue to show up, make phone calls, write a letter, send a text, send an email, do something to let them know that they are in your thoughts and they are in your prayers. Because I tell you, when we lose those loved ones, when we lose someone near and dear to our heart, we never seem to really get over it. Those wounds never truly heal. It's just something that we have to go on with life and deal with. And most times we have to deal with them alone, because we don't have that group. We don't have the people showing up. We don't have everyone there to help us, suppress and kind of put things to the side and not really deal with them, because we got some support. We got some people around saying, I'm here for you. You got people telling us, we love you and we're here for you. But when that wreath comes off that door and months and weeks and years go by, are you still checking in on that family? Are you still checking in on if they're okay? Because I tell you, we all know that death is something that we must prepare for, and something that is the only thing that is guaranteed in this life. But when it hit homes, my friends, when it hits your front step, it's something that you can never ever get over, something that you never ever can get past. And that's why it's very important not just to show up the week before the funeral. It's very important not just to show up for the wake. It's not just important just to show up for the ceremony. It's important for you to show up once that wreath comes off that door. Once everyone went back to their respective places in life, their respective cities, going back to their normal routine of life. Those people that are near to that loved one that has died, they are dealing with some emotional pain and trauma that no one can really explain. And I know we all know in the Black community, therapy is something that we really don't deal with, something that we don't really indulge in. And that's why it's vital that you check on your people that had to deal with the loss of a loved one. It's important that you tap in with them periodically to make sure that they're okay, and be genuine about it. Because I tell you, this thing called death, this thing when we can't pick up the phone and call that person anymore, it's a pain that's undescribable. And God forbid for a parent to have to deal with the death of a child. It's something that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. It's something that I wouldn't wish on anyone. Because I tell you, I had to watch my mother deal with that type of thing. And still to this day, I make sure I call my mother each and every day. I make sure I try to keep my nose clean, because God forbid something was to happen to me. God forbid if something, I would do something bonehead and go out here and get myself killed or get myself locked up, because my mom can't take on the loss of another son. My mom can't take on the loss of another child, period. And that's something that a mother shouldn't have to endure. That's something that a mother had to go through the trimesters of pregnancy, go through the labor and delivery, raise them, teach them, watch them grow, And then for them have to prepare for their arrangements, pick out their casket, pick out their plot. Ooh, that is a pain that no one should have to experience. And unfortunately, in this life that we live in, a lot of mothers have to. And today, my focus on you, Miss Candy. Miss Candy, my prayers goes out to you. My compassion and my heart pours out to you, because I know the relationship you and Mike had. The relationship you and Mike had was like glue, like super glue. You guys were about the same height. Miss Candy is very short in stature as well. But they were great friends, not only mother and son. They both were passionate about the way Mike wrestled on the wrestling mat. They were most passionate about what Mike was doing in life as far as his music and his furthering his education. And it's a challenge for a mother to have to endure that and have to deal with that. And that's why it's very important. If you're listening to this, it's gonna get better. Things are going to get better for you, because losing a loved one is the most difficult experiences we face in life. And although death is a natural part of life, it can be especially challenging to support someone in bereavement once that wreath is gone out the door. After the funeral, everyone is gone back to their natural routine. But for those who are grieving, life will never quite be the same again. They may feel lost. They may feel alone and overwhelmed with emotions. That's why it's important to continue offering support even when the wreath is removed from the door. To support someone in bereavement, you don't need to have all the answers or be able to fix everything, because you can't. But sometimes just being there and listening can make a world of difference. Share stories about their loved ones, offer help with day-to-day activities, and encourage them to seek therapy or professional help. It's also important to remember that grief is a process and healing takes time. Be patient, compassionate, and understanding as they work through their feelings and emotions. So today I encourage you to take a moment to reach out to someone who's grieving. Let them know that they are not alone and that you are there for them no matter what. By offering support, you can help them find the strength and the courage to move forward and begin to heal. Absolutely, it's important to know that everyone grieves differently and there's no right or wrong way to do it. Some people may need more time while others need more social support. Just be sure to listen to their needs and offer kindness and understanding in the way that you can. Remember, grief is a natural and necessary part of the human experience, and being there for someone during these challenging times, you are making profound differences in their lives. I have firsthand experience of how challenging it can be to support someone who is grieving. It's important to remember that everyone grieves in their own way, and it's okay to not have the right words to say. It's okay to not have the right gestures to do. It's okay to simply be a listening ear, because these people are going through some challenges and some phases of life that will change them forever. And if you consider yourself a true, genuine friend, a true loving family member, a true supportive colleague, or just a great person in general, I challenge you to show up when that wreath is gone. I challenge you to show up when everyone has gone back to their respective lives. I challenge you to tap in with these people more often than you did before they lost that loved one, because they're going through some painful moments right now. They're going through some times that will change them forever. And it's important that you step in as the great person that you are and be that shoulder to lean on, that shoulder to cry on. You be that listening ear that they can vent to and get out the emotions that they've been bottling up, all coming up to the day of the ceremony, the day of the funeral. Because these are times that people will never forget. And trust me, they'll never forget the times that you showed up for them, the time that you were there for them, the time you were there just to let them vent to you. It's important to be that person. Everyone needs it, because there'll be a day that in turn you would need that same support yourself. And if you yearn for it and you want someone to be there for you, I challenge you to be there for them. It's not an easy task. I know it makes you uncomfortable to even talk about it, to even bring it up. And trust me, there is even more uncomfortable for them. But they need you right now. They need you more than you think. And the little small gestures that you do go further than anything in the world for these people right now, because they are going through some troubling, trying times that they need you more than anything. And there are many ways that you can offer support and comfort to someone who is grieving. The first thing you probably should do, and the most important thing you should probably do, is listen. Sometimes all a person needs is someone to listen to them, be there for them, and give them space to talk about their experiences and about their feelings. This is not the time for you to interject and tell them what you think you would do if you were in that situation. Words like, I think you just got to get over it. You can't tell people how to heal, and I challenge you not to do so. That's one of the most hurting things you can say to a person who is grieving. Well, I think you just need to get over. I think it's time for you to get past that. No, they want to be able to speak without judgment and want to be able to vent and get the feelings off, because sometimes in situations where they've lost people and they lost loved ones, they haven't been fully able to express themselves. And you as a true friend, you as a person with great character, and you as a person who is being supportive, it's time for you to listen and say nothing. You can offer practical help. Grieving can be overwhelming. I'm telling you guys, it can be something that can be a strain and a heavy weight and a heavy burden on your shoulders. An everyday task can feel so difficult for them. Offer them to help them with things like cooking, cleaning, running errands, simple things in life that you may take for granted or you may think that's not big enough. It's something that may mean the world to them. Sit down and send them a heartfelt letter, not just a text message, not just an email. Get you a piece of paper and a pen and get you a book of stamps and write them a letter in the mail and tell them that you're thinking about them. Tell them that you understand that this is a tough time for them, and let them know that you'll always be there for them if they just want to talk. You're there just to listen. You're not there to pass judgment, just as I said before. Small gestures like this means the world to people who have lost someone who means so much to them, and they feel like life is over. They feel like life is not complete anymore, and it's a challenge and it's a struggle. And you, as a great friend that you are, the great person that you are, I challenge you to write a letter to someone who's going through some difficult times right now. Also, you can connect them with some resources. There are many resources available out there. And again, in the Black community, we're afraid of therapy. We don't want to talk about our struggles with perfect strangers. But I'm here to tell you that sometimes that perfect stranger, especially that professional perfect stranger, can help you get through some trying times. Don't shy away from, professional help when going through the death of a loved one, because it's trauma that you're dealing with. It's some emotions that you're burying and suppressing that can rear its head later on in life, all because you don't deal with it now. So I challenge you to offer some resources, some help to the people that you love and care about, and they're battling some things that they never saw coming. And the most important thing that you can do for someone who's bereaving, the most important thing you can do after that wreath comes out that door, is just be there. Sometimes the best thing you can do is just simply be there for someone. Let them know that you care and that you're there to support them through this difficult time. And that's all I got for y'all today. I really want this message to go out to the world and for the people that are dealing with the loss of loved ones and the death of the people that means the world to them. The whole staff here on There with Mr. Be Great today sends a word of compassion and a word of empathy to you, because I know all too well the battles you're dealing with, things you're struggling with, the emotions and the chatter that's going on in your mind. Why and what could I have done different? And it's a challenge. I know it's a challenge. I know it's hard. But you shall get through this. You shall get past this. And if anyone on the sound of my voice needs someone to talk to, needs someone that can listen to, needs someone that can understand what they're going through, hey, call me. My number is 404-621-6532. It's something that I've had to deal with for many years, and my brother has been dead 16 years. It's been 16 years since the death of my brother, and it's not a day that goes past that I don't feel him or think about him in some capacity. And it's been a hard 15, 16 years that I've been dealing with. It's been some challenges. Sometimes I break down in emotion, I break down in tears, and I replay those events over in my head again. And it's something that we do, something that we all do, especially when we lose someone so close to us, someone we wish we could just spend another hour, another minute, another second with them. But death has came and taken them away, and that's the natural process of life. But yet we're never prepared for that situation when it comes. But Mr. Be Great today is here to tell you you're going to be okay. That your loved one wouldn't want you to feel the way that you do, but you can't help it. It's uncontrollable. You're so vulnerable, especially in this moment when you can't stop thinking about them. You see something throughout your day that reminds you of them. You still can hear their voice in your head. It's a hard thing to deal with. And I challenge you to be open to your vulnerabilities. Get them out. Go into meditation, prayer. Find your therapist. Find your trusted friend. Get it out, because bottling it up and suppressing it and trying to be strong in one of the most hardest times you've ever had to deal with is not going to make the situation better. Trust me, that's something that I did for many years. I got to be strong. I got to, big boys don't cry. But the thing, it was eating me up on the inside. And it wasn't until I started getting my emotions out, getting my words out, praying and meditating on the situation, asking for closure, asking for peace. It wasn't until then I started, making strides into my recovery after the death of my brother. And I challenge you to do the same thing. And I challenge you, friends and families and loved ones around those who've lost someone. I challenge you to reach out. I challenge you to be there. I challenge you to show up. I challenge you to be that listening ear for them, because they're going through a time right now that's unimaginable for anyone. And I wouldn't wish that on anyone. I truly, truly hope someone hears this message and becomes that listening ear. I hope someone hears this message and seeks out some professional help to ensure that you get through this process with as less pain as possible. The death of your loved one has been hard enough. I challenge you not to put any more excruciating pain on your life and your emotions and your feelings, because you don't want to express it, and you keep bottling up and you're suppressing it down and you're hiding it in the background, and you don't want to let it out. You don't want to let people know how you feel, but it's okay. It's a challenge, it's a struggle, but I promise you with consistent effort, you'll get through this, okay? Again, this show is for Michael Parker, great kid, aka Mikey Trillfiger. I love you, brother. Gone too soon, but you never forgot. I love you all, and you already know. Be great today. Peace.